Hey Hearties, welcome to another Heart to Hearties. I'm Jeanette from Michigan.
I'm Annette from South Carolina. Pardon my scratchy throat tonight.
We'll roll with it. We're good. We're good. If you need to drink water, go for it.
I got it.
But we are so excited today to have a couple special guests. We have one of our writers, but I first want to also welcome one of the OG Hearties herself. She's been around. I think I met you 2016 at the very first HFR. Donna Cohen. Thanks for being here, Donna.
Thanks for having me.
Yay.
I'm a New England Heartie from Connecticut.
Representing with the shirt today. We love it.
Absolutely, 100%.
Yeah. And then speaking of OGs, we have another OG, one of our OG writers, Derek, who's been writing with us since season 2. Welcome back. Good to see you, Derek Thompson.
Thanks for having me. Good to see everybody. Thanks for everybody who's watching. Good
We're
to be
so
here.
excited to have another season to dive into.
Oh,
So Derek wrote episode 2, so we definitely want to dive in. But before we do, we had to explain why we have Donna here today, because the two of yours friendship goes way back for years, and anyone who's online knows that we have hashtag fave writer and hashtag fave Heartie here with us today. So Donna, would you tell us a little bit about what sort of drew you to Derek's writing initially when he came on in season 2, and why you look forward to his episodes?
Absolutely. So season 2 was a little bit of a struggle for me, getting used to the whole not being in Hope Valley all the time thing. And then came the homestead episode. I don't even know the name of the actual episode. I just call it the homestead episode. And I that was it for me. So I had to find out who wrote it, and then I sent him a note on Twitter, and here we are. The thing about Derek's writing that I totally love, one is there's a lot of humor, and I like to escape to Hope Valley and get some good chuckles. So that always feels good. And in this one, when they had the whole birthday thing just cracked me up all the way through. It was just sprinkled through too. So it wasn't just one scene. And my husband and I just were laughing all evening about that. So that was wonderful. And then the other things we like are the awe moments, like Faith and Lily. They were so cute together. And they were reading the Rebecca of Sunnybrook Farm, which happened to be one of my favorite childhood books. And then there were all these other little moments with Henry and Elizabeth, and it just was wonderful. And then what I really, really love is that Derek knows the characters so well, so he's always true to the characters. And I never wander off and go, huh, that was different. I didn't expect her to say that or act like that. And bringing in things in this episode, like Elizabeth had the cowbell again. And I thought, oh, I remember when Jack gave that to her in season 2. And for Rosemary to talk about the stage. It was just perfect, because it's been forever since we've heard about this stage, but Rosemary's going to take advantage if she can. And that was her moment. And she did it. It was just perfect. So yeah, those are just some of the reasons.
we have a good dialogue about the episodes, and I always appreciate that she takes the time to have like thoughtful feedback and talk about the characters and what might be coming, and it brings me a lot of joy. So we've it's been a while since we met. I've still got the mug she brought me at the Heartie convention that year. It says hashtag favorite writer on it, my name.
Oh,
I
that's
use it
so
every time I
great.
write. Yeah, it's my lucky writing mug. So yeah, I'm really grateful to have Donna as a fan of the show, and if I can make her happy, I've done
Love
my job.
that. Love
Yeah.
that. Donna, do you have a hashtag fave Heartie mug? We have to get you one.
We might have to work. We might have to work on that.
We're gonna have to remedy that right away for sure.
Yeah.
Well, I love that because both of you do, you've been around all these years. And to be honest, when a show's on the air for 11 seasons, it's rare that we have parties that have stuck through from day one. So that's really cool that you guys still have that relationship to share those thoughts. But,
Really special.
well, last night's episode, like you said, Donna, you hit on some of them, had a lot of those moments, and we have tons of Heartie questions, of course, as usual. Annette, you want to kick us off with a Heartie question?
Is it a tradition for the showrunner to write the first episode? And that must be hard to tackle.
Yeah, I would say most of the time the showrunner writes the first one, just to set the tone. Not always. It depends on what else is going on and how the scripts are doled out. But yeah, that's really common. And it is hard, and you have a lot of maybe loose ends from this previous season to carry through and to answer. So that takes some doing. But and on this show too, the first episode and sometimes the second episode are different because we like to kind of ease into a season. Now I know this year we started with a big moment, but that was more of a flashback. Once we got into the episode, you know, it was pretty mild and not many big ups and downs and gentle. And I think that's a good way to ease into a season, and then you come across your obstacles and you start maneuvering through those. So it's also challenging to write episodes like that don't have big, huge things happening all through the episodes to guide you through. So yeah, they're tricky, and yeah, usually it's the showrunner.
So Lindsay set up the tension last week of Rosemary holding back when Elizabeth confessed to having some feelings for Nathan. But this week, Rosie was pushing her bestie to do some party planning. Flora Wetzel of Atlanta and Caroline Walsh of South Bend, Indiana, loved the miscommunication between these characters and wants to know what, in your minds, the crazy birthday setup was designed to do.
I think it had a very specific goal, which was to push Elizabeth a little bit further than she might be quite ready for and make her feel a little uncomfortable, but not in a bad way. And I think her bestie understands where her mind is, where her heart is, where she's kind of, the direction she's headed. And so when the opportunity came from Allie, Rosemary pounced on it, as she always would. And I think Aaron played that really well. Elizabeth was just, caught off guard and protesting a little bit, but also a bit excited and butterflies and all that other stuff. And the sweet moment with Jack and when they were doing the birthday poster, and I think it came together nicely and landed them in a new place, with Nathan. So I think it served its purpose quite well. I hope that's
Aaron and Pascal are so good at those. There were so many little beats where they just give each other a look, and like everyone can relate to that. When you look at your best friend and you don't have to say anything, you just give that look and you know what you're thinking, kind of thing.
Every year there's a little bit more of that, right? They're just so in sync and more in sync, and they're so much fun to write for, those two.
I think it gave Elizabeth and Nathan a way to sort of conspire together and sort of do a little flirty thing going on, and they're very cute together. And Elizabeth, though, was really adamant that Nathan did not want a birthday party. So Abby Morris Lorente of Idaho wonders about starting a romance from an established friendship and how the writers are going to make this romance distinct rather from Elizabeth's previous love stories.
I think that's just it, that they have been friends for a while and they've been close before, and it didn't quite work out. Timing is everything in those relationships. So yeah, what they have that none of the others, Jack or Lucas, they didn't have this extended friendship and connection with her and the close family, vibe that they give off with the kids and everything. And they've been through great things and they've been through really hard things together. And so that's our angle coming into it, is like, what would then two people that are comfortable in these other ways together, how do we make it a little uncomfortable, because that's fun to watch and fun to see how they do together. And so the birthday thing was that they were kind of stuck in this situation where they had to make it work for others and each other. And I think it played really well. I think I think the moment when he kind of knew what she was doing for him played really well, and the fact that he was willing to keep it a secret and play along, and they're just simpatico. Yeah.
I will say I would love to see the outtakes to the part where he first goes in and like tries to act surprised.
Yeah.
I would just love to see those. Just
Well, and people were comparing the fake acting of Elizabeth when Elizabeth did the "Oh my word," versus her versus Nathan, the difference between the two. It was shenanigans. I like to lovingly refer to episodes like that as shenanigans that move the
Yeah.
move the story forward. It was so fun.
There's so much fun, and yeah, we'll have to make sure we get some of those in the outtake, the blooper reel this year. 'Cause as I recall, there were some pretty funny takes. His reaction.
well, this was also a big episode for the character I affectionately have hashtagged Hickamnevermike.
Very important. Hickamnevermike.
Please.
Yeah.
So tell us about the stage in Hickham's life with his anxiety about his job and the sort of increasing romance with May.
He's in an interesting place in that episode because, yeah, he's worried about his job all of a sudden after the news from Lucas, and that's troubling him. And then May starts to cool on him, and he doesn't really understand why. And you feel for him because, Hickham's one of those characters that he's always there for everybody else, and he has worked hard for whether it was Lee or Gowan or Lucas and now Lee again. And these relationships haven't quite worked out for him, and you're rooting for him and you're pulling for him. So to see him kind of down in the dumps and he's thinking he's going to lose his job, they're going to sell to somebody else. So it was really cool to all of a sudden see him get the good news about the job, that they're going to buy it and he's going to run it. And you could almost see him inch a little taller, like his shoulders kind of came back, and he just and as he walked over to May, you just saw this, okay, now I'm just, and he asks her to dance and it all goes perfectly well. And I felt myself kind of yeah, attaboy, there you go. You've done it. You're there. And he believed in himself and he got there. And yeah, he's one of my favorite characters to pull for because he has kind of got that underdog feel to him, and now he's getting his due. So it's nice to see him come full circle.
Well, and it was neat because you sort of saw the community believing in him when Lee was like, "You're running a top-notch operation." I mean, that alone it felt like the whole community is really seeing him as such a integral part of the community. And so I think that kind of then gives him the confidence that then also leads into their relationship, which is cool.
Yes, yes.
For me, I found myself that scene where they have the conversation where May and Mike talk at the saloon. I found myself wanting more, and I know time is a bit of a factor, but just because of the fact that May has such a complicated history, right? She was with a man who was very controlling and manipulative and lied and all kinds of issues. So that's a lot for a woman to carry into a new relationship. And I know time is a bit of a factor on episodes like that, but did we kind of just scratch the surface there? Is there going to be more talk about her past, or was that kind of the moment they needed to move forward?
Yeah, I mean, as they progress, there's more opportunity for them to dig into, both their pasts and things that they worry about and look forward to and everything else in between. And in that moment, we kind of wanted to play it as though she just hit him with everything and she just needed to get it all out.
Yeah,
And
she did kind of
overwhelmed and just I couldn't start to answer all those things at once. And for some reason just going and dancing together was just a way to just, okay, we're together, we're good, but we will come back to all the important stuff at another time. So yeah, there's a few opportunities where we'll see that as they move forward. Yeah.
Yeah, I like the way you say that because and Amanda played that so well because it was very clear. She just started kind of verbally vomiting and it all came tumbling out. And
she's great at that. She's had a few
Yeah.
scenes where she'll just everything kind of pops out, and she has a few more. I think she does it really well.
I think we're all really excited about where they'll go. But then you have Bill in the mix, who was dropping was not reading the room whatsoever with his, what were the comments? Calling them newlyweds. How are the newlyweds? And yeah, he was just not reading the room. And then he was using his, how's that going for you? I think he used it on Faith too with the little
Yeah.
girl.
Yeah.
We have a Heartie, Carolyn Galgano of Sutton, Massachusetts, also a New England Heartie. She wants to know, is Bill your favorite character to write for? Or if not, is there somebody else that you really like to write for specifically?
Carolyn, that's in the interest of job security, I should probably dodge that as best I can. I mean, he's right up there. He Jack Wagner, who plays Bill, he just has a unique ability to do a lot of different things well. And, he can do comedy, but he can segue into stuff that's really touching. And then he can do the macho, lawman with rootin' tootin' cowboy stuff. You can trust him with interesting stuff. And that to a writer is, you just love actors like that, where you can give him some juicy stuff or tangled stuff and see what he does with it. And he's always got his own take on it, and he's really active. Like he'll reach out to us and talk about lines and storylines and things. So I can't say anyone's my favorite, but he is right up there at the top of the heap for sure. He's a lot of fun to write for.
Yeah, I can see where, especially he's another almost OG being around so long. It
Yeah.
seems like we've seen a lot of sides to Bill Avery, which is really cool.
Yeah.
Someone else we've seen a lot of sides of is Henry, and Henry returned home, which so many Hearties were excited about, because I think we only got one scene of Henry in the first one, or just a little tidbit of his story. So he's back, and we get to hear him share about Abigail, which everyone loved to hear because we were all left on that bit of a cliffhanger. And then we had that gorgeous scene, the shot of Henry and Joseph in the hazelnut field. And some Hearties were wondering about the hazelnuts. We all know, those of us who've been to set know the hazelnuts are kind of a standard part of the set there. Was that just a choice to use that storyline because of the set, or is it a metaphor for something? What's going to go on with the hazelnut tree?
I mean, we wanted to, as I recall, that those trees were planted later in the seasons. I mean, I think after I was there, because I think around that field is where they played baseball in that season 3, 4 episode. And so they planted there, and there's many reasons why they're planting trees there. It's part of the agricultural land reserve, so they have to have so many crops on this set, and to keep their license to do business or something. It's beyond my pay grade. But anyway, they planted all these trees, and we thought, well, okay, so that's the view out the back of the cafe now, sort of. And what can we do with that? And we like Gowan working with his hands and, getting away from business stuff sometimes. And so, we pitched this story that these trees were maybe tended by Abigail at one point. And the reason we did that is it kind of keeps his connection to Abigail alive without saying it too often. So if we see him working there, we kind of know what he's doing. He's in honor of Abigail, he's tending to these trees because he doesn't want them to die, and he knows that she liked, using them for her recipes and stuff. So that was the idea, and I hope we can keep that going. It's just I love Henry working with his hands after so many years of him kind of behind the scenes and at the big desk and all that stuff. It's great to see him out just making something and tending to something and taking care of it. It's a good side of him.
Yeah, it was just a couple scenes that we saw, but you can already, I think Hearties are already like, whoa, something's different. He's definitely, taking
You
a
can
new
hear it.
path, and it's exciting to see. Yeah.
Yeah, you can hear it in his voice. I mean, Martin's a great actor, and he can sell things in very few words. You just kind of know what he's going through. as the good actors can do. And yeah, he did that really well, I think. So try to keep that alive.
Cool.
No spoilers.
So our mystery lovers loved the crime board, but we didn't expect that Lee would be the one to set it up for Rosemary. And we didn't think it would come after such a heated argument about Lee buying the saloon. So can you walk us through these developments?
I think we were looking for a nice resolution to that misunderstanding about the saloon, and we wanted to convey that he's supportive of kind of this new, she's been working for the newspaper, but she's taking this real interest in this particular crime, and because it hits close to home, and we wanted to show that he supports her in that, and that's going to become kind of a central story as we move forward in the next few episodes, as that mystery unfolds. And you could clearly see in those intercut scenes with Bill that, Bill is honing in on something. He knows something's up with this case, and so does she. So that could suggest how this mystery is going to be unfolding over the next few episodes. We have two of our favorite people in Hope Valley taking a keen interest, and we'll see where it goes from there. Yeah.
Do those intercut scenes, are they written just like that, or is that a director's choice? Is it?
That was written that
Very
way.
cool.
Sometimes they'll cut it that way,
Mhm.
or the director will go in and cut it that way. But that was written just to really, put a mark on the fact that these two are both interested in the exact same thing, and setting up what's going to be coming in the next few episodes.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, those scenes were really great the way they overlapped each other.
Yeah.
And had an incredible scene in the mercantile. I love the way director Neil Fernley set up this shot. Ned got one of the biggest laughs of the night. Maybe you need to get a source, Rosemary. Rothgar squeezed every bit of humor out of your scenes, didn't he?
It was perfect. It was the way he said it, and then was completely oblivious to how she was just losing it on the spot. And he just went back to his paper,
Are nodding. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, and everyone else is on the same page as him. And I think it was, Neil did a great job on that block. I think both episodes looked and felt really, really good. There's some cool new shots that they did, and yeah, that was one of them that stuck out for me too. And the button on it was perfect. So it's when you write those, you hope it goes that way, and they got it.
Nailed
Perfect.
it.
And we did talk about a few of the sweet moments from the other night, and one of them was also Lily playing dress up. It's very cute. But little Jack's drawing, now that was sweet. And a lot of Hearties had questions about the card. Nikki Harper of Little Birch, West Virginia, wonders if we will see Nathan's reaction to the card.
I think we would have if old Lucas hadn't returned, but I think we get to we may not come back to the card, but we come back to kind of an interesting moment between Nathan and little Jack, where they kind of really come to terms with where they both are in relationship to Elizabeth and everything else. And it's a really sweet story. It might be one of my favorites in the season. So we do come back to it, but not specifically to the card, but just to what those two are feeling about the future. And, because they're both, going to be potentially, expanding their family and everything else and joining families. And that's a big shoes for Nathan to step into. But yeah, there's a lot of great stuff coming. And I hope everyone likes it.
Well, in the birthday party, we did finally have a moment between Elizabeth and Nathan outside. And there was definitely some hints of romance there and a bit of electricity. And then, of course, they hear the singing from inside and go in to see Lucas. So I was told to ask why, Derek, why did you do this to the Hearties?
The question is why not?
Yeah,
Why not?
exactly. Is this that
It-
slow burn you guys have been telling us about?
yeah, and that was the idea, is just to kind of get them going, and then something, makes it a little challenging. I don't want people to expect it to be any sort of, love triangle or anything like that. It's more just, there's history there for both of them. She was once engaged to him. Nathan is friends with him. Uh, Lucas has been through a lot, and how is he going to be returning to town? There's a lot to play there. So it gave us a lot to kind of delay his return, let Elizabeth and Nathan do what they will, and then, oh, how are we all going to react to that? So
Yeah.
it's some interesting episodes coming up.
Well,
Sure.
it felt very much like, well, it's always nice when we get hints of Nathan finally having the courage to kind of make moves, and he definitely had some courage in that moment where he kind of moves in, even though he was just taking a star out of her hair. But it was really neat to have them have this romantic moment, but then cut to when they went inside, it felt very much like all of a sudden reality sunk in, right? Like, oh, this
Yeah.
is where we are
Yeah.
after this is all the history. It was like they're kind of hit with all the history of the past couple of
And the
years.
bravest of faces
Yeah.
on, and
Yeah.
also like they're glad to see that he's up and about and back, and that he is their friend. And so complicated is the word for the next few episodes. Yeah.
So true. And for those actors to have to convey, because no words are said by Nathan and Elizabeth, all of those emotions in just that one shot is
They did a great
mind-blowing.
job. Yeah.
Yeah, very cool. Um, well, we haven't, this is also the first time that we've seen you since last season. And we do know that you were the writer on the pivotal episode 11, the breakup. Is there anything that you wanted to say about sort of how that was done, and kind of the pacing of how the breakup occurred, and just sort of any thoughts on that left over from season 10?
I mean, I think I wrote that scene 30 times. It was just one of those scenes that everyone was going to have interest and input, and it was going to change right down to the day they shot, because it was so important and so hard to do. It was a difficult situation, and good reasoning for everything, but it was really hard to do. And so just like a real breakup, no great way to do it. And you just want to honor both characters and what they've been through and how important they were to each other, and try to have them leave it in a place where they, you know, still care for each other, and we admire their honesty. And so it was a tricky one, and so a lot of hands on deck. I mean, a lot of input from everyone you could imagine in that. And I think it turned out well. And I know there were, it was difficult for a lot of fans of Lucas, but it was one of those decisions that just was complicated, but had to be made. And I think it turns out for the better. I think through this season, we'll see that was a good choice for both of them. But yeah, hard to write a
Yeah.
breakup anytime. It's
Yeah.
just
Well,
because
and having the
it's
weight
all
of, yeah, and having the weight of, what, fan reaction will be,
yeah,
and then it's going to be so hard for so many. And
yeah.
yeah.
It was a tricky one, but we made it through, and
Mhm.
good things ahead.
Well, yeah, and I think Hearties are excited now that Lucas is back in town to see how the dynamic moves
Yeah,
forward between the three of them, and of course, hoping for the best for all three characters. So
yeah. It's really good stuff for Lucas. For the Lucas fans out there, which there are many, there's lots of really great stuff for him. We learn a lot about him this season, and he grows a lot. And so there's no shortage of stuff for Lucas, Elizabeth, and Nathan.
That's great to hear. So back to the mystery, we see in previews that it's really heating up next week. It looks like Bill reaps some rewards from working with Rosemary on the investigation. So Midwestern Heartie, Elizabeth Nelson, feels Edwin sometimes seems a little shifty. She wonders if you can tell us, on a scale of 1 to 10, the chances that Edwin is involved in this plot, with 10 being he definitely is, and 1 being not so much.
It's a good
Good luck.
question.
Good luck with that one, Derek.
Well,
One,
if that's what she sees, that's what she's seeing. If she's seeing some hints of that, that's good. That's what we're going for. I mean, Edwin is a political operative type. He's there because Lucas is the hot hand right now, and you know, I would not expect a straight line with Edwin. I'll put it that way. But on a scale of 1 to 10, that being true, I wouldn't want to. 2.
He's pleading the fifth. Oh, no, 2. Oh, 2. Oh, interesting.
2.
Yeah. That's a
That
good
is,
question, though. That's a good question.
that's actually an interesting observation. I didn't realize that Hearties were thinking that. I've always thought he's been a kind of fun character. And to me, there's been a little comedy to his character. So that's interesting
Yeah.
that people are kind of thinking he's a little suspect now. Interesting.
Opportunistic, I guess I would describe. Like he arrives on the scene right at the right time, you know, to take full advantage of
Yeah.
Lucas's soaring ascension to power, and then we'll see what happens as the season goes on.
Donna, did you think he was suspect? Did the New England people think he's suspect?
Well, we haven't had our chat yet.
Oh.
Haven't had a debrief yet.
So I'm going to be sure to ask.
Yeah, and you're gonna have to report back. I'd love to hear. I want to
Yeah.
tweet
Let
that
us
and
know.
ask what Hearties think. That's interesting.
Yeah, we have our Zoom tomorrow, but personally, no, that for me, that never occurred to me.
Interesting.
I don't know. I haven't really figured it out yet. I don't think it's that Pike guy, though. Pike, was that it, right?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
Yeah, that one I was like, no, I don't see that happening. I can understand how it's too obvious. So
Right.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. I love the intrigue though. I feel like we could do a whole separate chat just about the mystery of it now that's coming into play. It's so fun.
It gets pretty fun. I remember we had a document which was just this. It was almost like our own crime board about how this all kind of came together. That was like literally for our own understanding of what we had come up with, because it was just so many like red herrings, who done it, and so I hope it has the same effect on everybody else.
Are there some gasp-worthy moments? Will we be gasping at any point?
Oh yeah, I think
Oh,
so.
nice.
Plenty of gasps. Yes,
Very cool.
and the gasp guarantee down the season.
Well, we know Bill goes back to Capital City because we saw that in the preview. He's measuring out the time, and we've got to see what happens there.
He gets into it. Yeah, his old forensic side comes back.
He does,
He's on the
yeah.
case. Yeah.
Well, it's time for Heartieship, our version of Battleship. So you have 3 choices, Derek, for each of these questions: hit, miss, or classified. So are you ready?
I feel like we need to limit them to a certain number of classifieds.
I think so. Okay, I'll try to be really honest with these. I can't guarantee it, but I'll try to be really honest.
Do we hook them up to lie detectors or anything? Or
do you have a towel?
Ned,
I have a towel. I'm touching my face already.
That's his towel. We know his towel. Good job, Donna. You
All
got
right.
that.
Here's the first one. Toby's approach to math will catch on and become the new curriculum.
Ooh, miss. It's hit, miss, and classified. Okay.
Yes. All right. So we've heard about Jeanette coming to town potentially. Jeanette will be played by an immediately recognizable actress.
Well, that has to be classified. Yeah. I'll do. There's one. Okay. I only get one more, maybe. Okay.
All right. Minnie will take over an advice column for the Valley Voice.
Oh, I don't know if Rosemary would. We'll say miss.
All right. Superintendent Hargraves will get his just dessert this season.
Mm.
Mm,
Oh,
Hargraves.
I gotta say miss.
Interesting. His name came up in episode 1, right? Am I imagining that, Hargraves? Somebody help me out.
Was
No?
it? Did it come up in one?
I feel like it came up in one of the last 2 episodes. Am I imagining that?
Let Nathan pursue the investigation.
Okay. Okay. I
Oh,
thought
yes.
this was-
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, I love this one. Lucas will concede to having his hair cut by Robert, the correspondence school stylist. That was
I would
just,
love to see that, but we'll say miss.
oh, that was so funny.
Yeah, I'm really curious if we'll see more of Robert in the
Yeah.
salon. That's just too much. I did not have that on my season 11 bingo card.
Your bingo card.
All right. Toddler Goldie will wreck the crime board, but Rosie will still come out on top of this investigation.
Well, I think it actually happened on set, so we'll say
Oh.
it, but I can't say if it'll be on air, but yeah,
Ooh, another one for the blooper reel.
there you go. There you go.
And the last ones, Nathan's urgent need for eggs late night at the Mercantile will begin to raise eyebrows around town.
Oh, classified. That's classified.
That's
No one can know about the eggs. No one
Yeah,
can know.
I saw some tweets. What if there's some tweets between Aaron and Kevin last night? She's like, well, should we be concerned that the
Is
eggs
she
are
razzing him
urgent?
about the eggs?
Yeah, everyone was like, what's with the eggs? I don't get it.
It's gonna become one of those things on this show. There'll be
Yeah.
t-shirts and everything.
Yep, totally. I was
did.
just glad he didn't ask for the pickled eggs because those things have been there since season 1.
Those are the original ones. Someone dared me to eat one once, and I
Oh
thought
no.
that's
Yikes.
a prop to me. I'm not sure.
Yeah, too funny. Well, thanks for playing. You nailed
Hey,
it. I think
fun.
you only
That's
used
tough.
like, yeah.
That's a hard game. Boy, how did the others do?
I think they did pretty good. I remember Marg giving him a hard time about using too many classifieds out of the gate. So that's why I'm like, we need to put a limit
It's
on
easy to go there.
it. So much is classified. Well, we appreciate you playing. And first of all, I want to say thanks to Donna for joining us. We loved
Yeah.
having you. Thanks for
Oh, this
stopping
was so
by.
much fun.
Yeah.
Thank you.
See you.
Totally honored.
Yeah. And thank you, Derek, for coming again and
Anytime.
chatting with us. We always love chatting with you. And we
Anytime.
heard you have one. Do you have one more episode this season? We heard Lucky episode 11, maybe near the end of the season.
Yeah, it looks like that's been those have been my numbers the last couple of years anyway. Yeah,
Yeah.
2 and 11. So
Nice. We'll be on the
here we
lookout
go.
for
And it's
that.
a big one. It's a big one.
Ooh,
So
we'll be
look
looking
forward to
for it.
some big stuff toward the end of the season. It's a
No
good one.
100th episode for you. They're throwing at you this year. Well,
you.
thank you. Thanks so much. And thank you, Hearties. As always, we will, if you want to submit questions, every Sunday after the episode, if you have those burning questions, we hear a lot of times, you didn't ask this and you didn't ask that, but we'll send them in. We'd love to have them. Officialhearties@gmail.com. And then be sure to subscribe. And then, of course, we'll see you next Sunday, 9/8 Central on Hallmark Channel. And be sure to use that hashtag Hearties wherever you tweet. So we'll see you next time on Heart to Hearties.
Thanks,
Bye,
everybody.
guys.